Welcome to The Secret Place with Bennett, devotions for hungry hearts and searching souls.
Good morning and welcome to The Secret Place with Steffa. Today I'm reading again from Dr. Gerald May, Will and Spirit. And today we're talking about, I think we're going to talk about the difference between narcissistic contamination of our beautiful agape love. And so this is a little passage he writes that says, expecting unconditional love from human beings. Longing for unconditional love, one may seek to find it in erotic or filial relationships with other people. It is my guess that all people traverse this blind alley numerous times in their lives. Some never find their way out. Romantic love most especially feels unconditional during its flaming moments, and thus it attracts people at times when they are especially vulnerable, when they are most in touch with their hunger for union. One comes to expect romantic love to be unconditional because it feels so consuming and so all-pervasive. But then, when the flame dies down or the drama disappears, there can be great pain and rage. This is one of the reasons, I think, why erotic love can change into hatred so quickly. If you grow to invest all of your longing for unconditional love in me, if you truly come to expect it from me, then your pain will be immense when I fail to measure up, as I most certainly will. Then you are left to deal with that pain, and you have only two options. You can become depressed, hating yourself and feeling that you were somehow unworthy of my love, or you can hate me, reviling me for my callous insensitivity. Filial love has its own special subtle confusions when people seek unconditionality within it. Our parents may have told us that they love us and will always love us no matter what. And as children, whether we were told that or not, we did so want to believe it. But the evidence was confusing. Sometimes the manifestations of our parents' love were greater than at other times, and on many occasions it seemed to be determined by our behavior. If we then grew up believing what our parents said, we had to assume that we were somehow defective in either not warranting or their unwavering expressions of love, or not being able to receive it fully and correctly. Well, Dr. May is really jabbing at some childhood wounds there, isn't he? If you've never looked and explored those childhood wounds of your own, and you don't want to, go ahead, turn off The Secret Place right now, come back another day because I'm going to talk about it. Childhood wounds are so hard to talk about because most of us love our parents very much, and if they're not with us any longer, we love the memory of them. The same can be so as if they were really bad parents and abused us in some way. We don't want to remember them, and we have things kind of sizzling and seething still way below the surface in our hearts for them. So either side of the spectrum, childhood wounds are difficult to talk about. We push them down farther and farther and farther because, you know what? That's the only way to cope with them. We've got work to do. We've got relationships we're in now, and dealing with those childhood wounds. Why exhume the bones of those wounds? I have a good friend who said to me a few months ago when I told her, I may have mentioned this on The Secret Place, but it's worth again. I mentioned to her, like, I don't need to go back and look at X because that's all forgiven and buried and 6 feet under. I don't need to deal with it anymore. And she laughed and she said to me, really? She said, why do you think that they exhume the bones sometimes? I said, they exhume the bones. And she looked at me, she goes, because sometimes they miss something. Oh my goodness, that hit me like cold water in the face. Okay, so maybe I've missed something. And, I think the more clarity we get on things that we go through, and the more we work through feelings and wounds that we have not, the better able we are to deal with everyday things that happen in our life. I was thinking the other day, why do little things bother people so much? Why do little things bother me? Like, why do little things? I noticed some man in front of me in the Publix line. He was so annoyed and so upset with the person in front of him because she was writing a check. She was hunting for her checkbook. She was writing out that check. She wasn't taking too long, but she was taking a lot longer than just flipping in the card and taking it out, right? He was kind of fuming. He was guffaw, like, and you could tell he was aggravated. Man, that is such a little thing. Why was he so upset? You know what? If you don't deal with the little things, I think the little things bother us because we're not dealing with the big things. Yeah. Or how about the person, and maybe this is you, that tailgates someone or just gets so annoyed on the highway because someone's not they're going 10 miles, only 10 miles over the speed limit, and you want to go 20 and get all upset and aggravated they're not driving right. Well, yeah, they should be driving right? And they should be going the speed limit. But really, in the scope of eternity, it's a little thing. And the little things bother us when we don't deal with the big things. The issue is, where I want to go with this with will and spirit, is that very often we don't know what the big things are because we've buried them. We've buried them. And some of these things, like Gerald May is talking about filial love, the friendship love, right? Or erotic love, eros. When you get hurt by someone, or even if you are the hurter, if you're the one who hurts them and you devastated someone's life and never dealt with it, never said you were sorry, never turned away, never repented, never made amends to that person. And how many people do, really? Think about romantic love. How many people have come back to you and say, I'm so sorry I hurt you when I left you. When I cheated on you, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that doesn't happen. If it does, it's rare. How about with friendship? If you put all your eggs in the basket of friendship and just pour yourself out on a friend and give everything to them, and they don't come through for you, they're not there for you when you really, really need them, what do? Do you throw that friend away? I think some people do. People say, it's not mutual, it's gone. But when we move into a deeper kind of love, the love that is known as agape, that love informs all of the other loves. That love informs filial love. That love informs erotic love. That love of God, the unconditional love, the love that does not depend on whether I do well or not. See, God's love is the only love that is unconditional. God loves you. He's faithful to you. The book of Timothy says, even if you're not faithful, he's faithful. He can't deny himself. We can deny him. We can deny ourselves. We can deny others. God can't deny himself. He is love. God is love. 1 John 4 tells us that, and many other places. So what May is saying, and what I'm saying today is, let's try to not put all of our expectations on the forms of love that spring from the foundation of agape. If we put all of our hope in a friend, we're going to be disappointed. If we put all of our hope in a spouse, we're going to be disappointed. If we put all of our hope in God, he will not disappoint us. He is faithful. That love is agape. It is love that is not conditioned by our ability to love him. And isn't that good news? For me, that's so much part of the good news of the gospel. And if you haven't heard it that way, if you've heard the gospel, and that a gospel that has framed the living God as this menacing monster who's out to get you and going to kill you, then of course you're going to think about fear when you think about God. But let's turn that ship around, okay? Because God is love, and his love is overwhelming, overarching, and foundational to every other love that we can have. Let's pin our hopes on him. Try to love others with a love that is holy and pure and giving, and receive that kind of love too, and let it be mutual. When we do that, I think that there's a much greater chance of a friendship lasting, a marriage lasting, a family life that's not broken up in pieces. That's good news, and there's a lot of hope there. But when you feel the fear, or you feel the pain, or you feel the anger because someone has disappointed you, that you feel it. I feel it. We feel it, and I think denying it is not the same as taking our love back. Feel it. Like, remember, I just saw the Mr. Rogers movie last weekend, the new one, The Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, with Tom Hanks and Michael Reeves, and I love that song that Mr. Rogers did when our kids were small. What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? Or I say spit or scream, You got to feel it and then put it somewhere. Like he says, punching bag, or cry out to God and scream. Deal with it. Don't stuff it. God's love will heal you. God's love can heal us. So until next time, this is Steffa from The Secret Place. I've enjoyed being with you, and I hope you come back real soon. God bless you this season and always. Bye now.
Breathe, listen, and receive. Take a moment to soak it all in. Until next time.